Hello everybody, it is a rainy day. It's nice. I'm comfortable in this oversized sweater. I am so happy right now, and let's get into it. Today we will be having my March wrap-up as well as my April TBR, and we can just get right into it. So the first book that I read this month was The Companion by Katie Allender, and I loved this book so much. It's about this girl who lost her entire family in this accident, and it's super sad, and she's still dealing with nightmares and all of that stuff, but people keep calling her lucky because she was the only one that survived. And the people in her foster home call her lucky because she gets her own room because she wakes up screaming with nightmares every night, and it's like, that's not lucky. But then she gets lucky again, and the super rich family adopts her, like not formally adopts her, but they take her out of the foster home for the sole reason of becoming a companion for their daughter. I forgot their daughter's name, but for the sole reason of becoming their daughter's companion, and I loved it. I love the spooky vibes. I feel as though it wasn't super heavily plot driven, but it was more character driven, and I'm still here for that. And I really liked the way it sucked me in, and I love the atmosphere. It was really creepy and everything like that. And I saw the twist coming, but I liked it anyway. And I give this book 4 out of 5 stars. And I also like the romance, but I feel as though the synopsis, though it didn't say much about it, I would have wanted just a little bit more. But yeah, the next book I read is actually an audiobook, and this was Atomic Habits by James Clear. And oh, like, this is one of those books that are really like life-changing, and you can really learn so much from it, and I do love that I learned so much. And it was also really repetitive, not necessarily in a bad way the whole time, but in a way to where you know the steps that you need to take in order to have good habits and keep them coming. And for that reason, I rated this book a 4.5 star. It's not a super 5-star just because it's not my type of 5-star kind of book, but 4.5 because I did learn so much. The third book I read in the month of March is The Dark Descent of Elizabeth Frankenstein by Kirsten White, and I really like this book as well. This book read kind of slower to me, like the pace wasn't super slow or anything, but I felt as though I could take my time reading it, and I didn't really feel the need to just like just have to read so much. And I liked that, and I love the maturity of this character. Like, I had never really read books about adults, and the main character is not an adult, but she read like an adult, and I really liked that, and I liked the maturity, and I liked being in this different world and everything like that. And it's about Elizabeth, who was adopted by the Frankensteins. Keep in mind, the Frankenstein was the man, not the monster. But yeah, so they were adopted by the Frankensteins in order to be a companion. Again, there's a running theme here for Victor Frankenstein, their son, and he's kind of crazy, and you kind of see her growing up with that, and she's trying to find him for a decent amount of the book, and I didn't know that was going to be an element. I didn't really know too much going into it, even though I had read the synopsis, but she is trying to find him because she doesn't know where he is. And so that, I'd want to say the first at least 100 pages of the book is that, and you get to see flashbacks, and I really liked the flashbacks, and I rated this book 4 out of 5 stars. Next, we have another audiobook, which is How to Study the Bible by Dwight L. Moody, and I enjoyed this book too. I think I learned a lot about how to study my Bible from this book, and I really enjoyed how he said, like, you have to take the Bible for what it is and not cutting out what you don't like from the Bible and all those things like that, and I really enjoyed it. However, I did not agree with every single thing that he was saying, so I did rate this book a 3.5. But I did really like it nonetheless, and I learned a lot from it. The next book was my first Maya Angelou that I've ever read. I got it from my grandpa, and I am so happy about it. Her writing is everything that everybody makes it out to be. It's beautiful, it's eloquent, it's brilliant, and I absolutely love it. And I love knowing more about how she grew up and her thoughts on how she is and who she is, and she owns that, and she owns that she's had flaws and she's been vain and all of these things, and why her marriage ended, and I loved it. And I honestly, though I can't really tell you what it's about because it's about a lot of different things and a lot of different subjects, and you'll see that once you read the book. I do recommend this book for everyone. I rate this a 4.5 to 5 stars. I'm not really sure which one it is. I think I could call it a solid 4.8. Oh, I forgot to say the name of the book. Okay, so the name of the Maya Angelou that I read was Even the Stars Look Lonesome. And if that title isn't enough for you to want to go and read the book, I don't know what to tell you. But after the Maya Angelou, I read an ebook of Truly Madly Deadly by Hannah Jane, and this book was about this girl whose boyfriend was really abusive, and then one day he died in a car accident. But not long after the car accident, she gets a letter saying, "You're welcome." And so somebody knows that he was abusing her, and she hadn't told anybody. Obviously, he hadn't told anybody, and so she's like, I don't know what's going on. And then you'll see that people around her that are like doing her dirty, like get plucked off like one by one. She's trying to figure that out and figure out whether or not she is in danger herself. And I really enjoyed this book. I think it was a pretty quick read for me, and I loved the twist at the end. However, I will say that I don't know exactly how we got there. Like, I know that the person was doing all of these things. I just would have liked to know how the person knew all of these things and was able to do everything that they did, which I don't want to get into it too much because then it would be a spoiler. But I do still recommend this book. I rated it a 4 out of 5 stars. After Truly Madly Deadly, I read You Deserve Each Other by Sarah Hogel, and this was the cutest book I've ever read. Notably, it was my first ever romance that I've read completely through, and I was so happy about it. It was so cute. It's a lovers to enemies to lovers book, which I'd never heard of before, and I love that, especially enemies to lovers, but lovers to enemies to lovers. Yes, and basically the book is about this couple to where they are engaged, but neither of them wants to break up with each other, so they're like pulling pranks on each other, trying to get the other one to break up with them first. So I really loved that, and I thought it would be hilarious, and it was funny. There were multiple times to where I was really just laughing out loud, like, and shamelessly. But I was still laughing out loud just reading this book, and I really loved it. And I love how much the characters learn about themselves and how to be in a relationship with the other person, because sometimes I feel with relationships in general, people are kind of thinking of it as a relationship with themselves and how they would want somebody to do things instead of how their partner wants them to do things. And I really loved that about the book, and I love how dramatic Naomi is. Naomi is the woman who is engaged to Nick. Okay, Naomi is the woman who is engaged to Nick, and she is so dramatic, and I love it. I rated that a 4 out of 5 stars, and it is a solid 4 out of 5 stars, and I love it, and will continue to love it until the day I die. Next, we have The Night Swim by Megan Golden, and this was my favorite book out of all of the books that I read this month. It was absolutely amazing. The world just, it becomes your world. Like, it's not the book's world, it's your world now, and you're just sitting there watching everything unravel and unfold. And I just love Megan Golden's writing. Every time I opened the book, I was just, I don't even know who I was. I was the book. The book was me. So I loved it. And this is about a woman who has a true crime podcast, and she's working this really big controversial rape case, and then she gets a letter from somebody asking for help because they think that the rape case is connected to her sister's murder from like 25 years ago. And so you get like 3 different timelines, but I won't really get too much into it because I do have a weekly reading vlog that I will link down below in the description. But just know, this was a solid 5 out of 5 stars. It's one of my favorite books now. I love it, and I will stand by that rating. The last book that I read this month is Becoming Fluent, and this was another audiobook by Richard Roberts and Roger Cruz, and I really liked it. I think that it was really insightful, and it is targeted specifically towards adults who are trying to learn a new language, because there's a lot of stigma saying that, well, only children can learn languages, or children can learn it so much better, and they're kind of like encouraging adults to be able to learn languages and telling them how they can do it and what they can do. And I really did like it, and I rated this a 3 out of 5 stars. Yeah. So now we can get into my April TBR. Some of these books on the TBR will be the same as from my book haul, because if I bought the books, I want to read the books. But yeah, I will leave that book haul linked down below as well. You should just check the description, basically. So, first up on the list of things to read, A Curse So Dark and Lonely. It is beautiful. As you can see, my bookmark is already in it because I started it, and so far it is really good. It's a Beauty and the Beast retelling, and that's all I'm gonna say because I loved going into this blind. Like, honestly, knowing that this was a Beauty and the Beast retelling and that it's a darker Beauty and the Beast retelling was all that I needed to know. And honestly, that's all you should know, because I am so happy with when I opened the book and what I was seeing and learning. And I didn't know any of this was going to come out of this book, and I'm just so happy about it. So you get no other description. Just read it. Pick it up, and I will continue to read it, and there will be a reading vlog coming very soon. Next we have Too Good to Be True by Carola Lovering, and all I know about this book is that there are 3 unreliable narrators and that there are 2 marriages that are on the line. And I also know that this is supposed to be a thriller, and I don't know why, but I get really intrigued when there's like a marriage involved and it's a thriller. I don't know why, I just like the spice. Next we have Pretty Things. Honestly, I forgot what this is about, but this is a book by Janelle Brown. Honestly, I'm going to go into this book blind. I remember, I think a YouTuber named Gabby Reads was reading this, and I loved when she was talking about it. I was like, oh my gosh, I do know that this book will get a little bit gruesome. I'll keep you updated on that. I think I can handle it. I say that now that I haven't read it, but yeah, so I am looking forward to this. And just look at the dust jacket. A premium grade AAA rated dust jacket. Next on my TBR is Behind Her Eyes, and I don't know much about this one either. There's a theme here to where I like going into books like completely blind, besides knowing like the bare minimum. And for this one, the bare minimum is that a woman gets involved with not only her boss, but her boss's wife. And it's a thriller. Do you need anything else? I don't need anything else. I'm so excited about this next one, which is A Kingdom of Flesh and Fire. I mean, honestly, just look at it. Look at it. Ooh, I like how it's completely bare. I've never seen that before, where it's completely bare. I don't know why. I'm so intrigued by this, but I've never seen it. So, I do know with this one that it is the second in a series. I believe that the first one is called, one is Of Blood and Ash or something like that, and I just picked this up for one line that I know is in it from a YouTuber called Mel Reads, and I'm just like, I just wanted it for that one line. But then I see the dust jacket and just feels good to hold. Like, you know, some books just feel good to hold, like you just want to read it just because you know just holding the book will bring you satisfaction. This is that book. Next we have The Silent Patient. I'm not going to go too much in depth with this one because I put this one in my reading vlog down below. I have started this one as well. I'm not too far along. Yeah, I'm on page 5. But yeah, just know that a woman is completely silent after shooting her husband in the face 5 times, and you're good. Take a hint, Dani Brown. I love it. She is not a romance person at all, and there's fake dating involved, and this is another romance, and I'm really excited to get more into lighthearted romances after reading the book that I did in March, and I'm so excited. And the floppiness. The floppiness. Moving on to the audiobooks that I want to read in April. The first one is called Single Gay Christian, and it's by Gregory Coles and Wesley Hill, and I am so excited about it because I just think it would be really cool to like just see somebody's journey and self-acceptance, especially for something like this. And I would love to see more representation and just knowing that other people know that being a Christian and being a part of the LGBTQIA plus community does not have to be mutually exclusive, and I am a proud ally of the community, and I would just really love to hear that story. And he said that it's not going to be super duper sad because I'm sensitive, so I don't know if I could read a super duper sad story, when obviously some of it's going to be sad because that's how life is and it's a memoir. But he also said that there's a lot of hope in it and there's light at the end of the tunnel. And honestly, I'm just so happy that the author knows that God still loves the author, and I'm just so happy about it. So yeah, the next audiobook I have is The Power of SelfCompassion by Lori J. Cameron. And need I say anything else? Everybody could use a little bit of self-compassion, especially these days when we're trapped inside anyway. Well, we're always trapped inside ourselves more than we are in the house. But now that we're in the house more, we're spending more time with ourselves, and just self-compassion is something that I don't think anybody can ever have enough of, and everybody could learn more about, and that is myself included. So next, I have a book called Uniquely Human by Barry M. Prisant, or Prisant. I'm not sure which way he would prefer to be called. And I'm really excited about this one because this one is about autistic children and autistic people, and instead of just seeing them as a list of disorders, it sees them as a list of strengths and how to use those strengths, and for the things that are harder, like how to turn those things that would make your life harder into something that makes your life great and beautiful. And I love that idea. Next audiobook is The Christian Secret of a Happy Life, and I'm like, I'm a Christian, I want a happy life. So yeah, that's why I want to read that book next. And the last book that I'm going to be talking about today is a buddy read between my father and I, which is Becoming by Michelle Obama. I have started it, but I am going at a little bit of a slower pace because like it is a buddy read, and so I have to wait on my dad to kind of catch up a little bit because he works and I don't, so I have more time. But yeah, it is Michelle Obama's autobiography, and I did talk about that more in the reading vlog that I will have linked down below. And I am just so excited about everything. So to wrap everything up, I had my March wrap-up and my April TBR, and I couldn't be happier about either of these things. And comment down below what you think my sign is, like Libra, Capricorn, Scorpio, Aquarius. Like, tell me what you guys think, and also let me know what your star sign is, because I think that that would be a really cool thing to know. And also, as always, linked down below, I will have my Amazon wish list, my Barnes & Noble wish list, and a few ways that you can make donations to give others the gift of reading. Bye!